to the Huntertown Veterans Day program, where we have the opportunity to honor the brave men and women who have and are currently serving our country. On July 4th, 1776, our forefathers bravely declared that the United States of America would be forever free.
Immediately, young men from throughout the new colonies courageously defend this land called America, with everything they had, some even sacrificing their lives. It wasn't until many years later that an official Veterans Day was proclaimed to honor the men and women who have so ably served in our defense.
Today we honor them all, including those who first stepped forward and bravely proclaimed, "We the people of the United States." Please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Veterans Day is celebrated each year on November 11th because in 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, World War I ended. To celebrate the end of such a bloody war, November 11th became known as Armistice Day. An armistice is an agreement to end a war that is signed by all countries involved. November 11th was known as Armistice Day until 1954, when President Eisenhower changed it to Veterans Day, honoring all service members past and present. Citizens and businesses from all over the country now graciously salute the brave veterans who bore the weight of unimaginable conditions both at war and upon returning home. So on this Veterans Day, and on behalf of all the Huntertown staff, students, and parents, we humbly say thank you.
Thank you!
At this time, we would like to honor each branch of the military individually. Second grade classes will perform a bell routine to each song for each branch. Each Veterans Day, Huntertown honors our veterans by creating a white table display. Here to tell us more about what this display represents is Mrs. Greenlee.
Hello Wildcats, this is Mrs. Greenlee, and this week we are celebrating Veterans Day. So something you've probably noticed is a special display in the cafeteria. This is called the white table. This is a special way that we can celebrate our veterans, and each item on that table means something special. So today I am going to explain the items on the table and what they mean. The small table is used to show one soldier's lonely battle against many. We cover it with a white cloth to honor a soldier's pure heart when he answers his country's call to duty. A lemon slice and grains of salt are put on a plate to show a captive soldier's bitter fate and the tears of his families waiting for loved ones to return. We pull up an empty chair to recognize the missing soldiers who are not here. We lay a black napkin for the sorrow of captivity and turn over a glass for the meal that won't be eaten. We place a white candle for peace, and finally a red rose in a vase tied with a red ribbon for hope that all missing will return someday. So this week, as you're eating in the cafeteria, my challenge for you is to just take a look at that table and to remember someone who has served. Might be a family member, might be a neighbor, but just to remember someone special that has served our country. Happy Veterans Day.
Hey there, Wildcats. Now, I know some of you have veterans in your family, and that makes something like Veterans Day pretty special. You've got a special connection because of the person in your life who has served our country. Here to talk about somebody in her family who has served our country is our very own Mrs. Evans. So I'm here with Mrs. Evans, and she has some pretty neat artifacts that are connected to her family, and I'll let her explain what we have here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sansfer. A couple of things I've come across when we were cleaning out my grandparents' home is first off a picture of my grandfather. He fought in World War I, so this is in what he's called his doughboy uniform. And you'll notice there's a lot of differences between the uniforms that your Army and your military people wear today, just basically because of the leggings, the gaiters that are around the legs, the hat, and so forth. It was a totally different time of fighting then, and since they fought in the trenches, they wanted to protect their legs more than that. Along with that, when he left the Army, he was finished with his tour of duty, there was this book we came across, and this book is literally full of signatures from every person that was in his unit overseas. Gentlemen that wrote all sorts of different notes, included their addresses so that when you traveled, come look us up, you've got a place to stay and things to see. It's a fascinating piece of history just to read through here and look at the handwriting and see the differences in our handwriting to today's their handwriting. And it's just an interesting piece to have.
Yeah. So, Mrs. Evans, what does it mean to you to have these two artifacts to remember your grandfather by?
Oh, it's very important. It's a great memory for when they're gone. It's a great thing to remember what history was like at the time and how to preserve history. It also is important because my family has been rather military oriented, shall we say. Yeah. My grandfather served in World War I. His three sons, one of them was just World War II, part of World War II. The middle son did World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, along with a little intelligence, government intelligence, so we say during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And then I had another uncle that was just Korea.
Wow.
And then a cousin that did Air Force, Vietnam, and another cousin that has done a tour in Afghanistan and Iraq in the early years.
So this means a lot to you, not just because of your connection with your grandfather, but also the connection that your family has had with the military throughout the time as well.
Yes,
that's
definitely.
Really neat. And you mentioned history, and we read about history and we hear about history, but when you have something like this, it's almost like you're holding history in your hands, which is pretty neat.
It is.
Yeah. I appreciate you letting us know a little bit about your artifacts and about your family. And I think it's great that you have something like this to remember your grandfather by. And I would encourage all of our Wildcats, if you have some family members who are involved in the military, ask them questions. A lot of times they're willing to talk to you about what it was like and about their experiences. Mrs. Evans, do you have any advice for our Wildcats as well if they've got family members connected to the military?
Oh, definitely talk to them. Find out. Realizing some military members are not comfortable talking about that, and we ask, of course, that you respect that privacy that is there. But for those that will, you can hear some further interesting stories, like how my grandfather got hit in the head with the propeller of a biplane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the guy in the pilot and the thing, he was working on the plane in France, and he didn't want the guy to press the start button yet, and then he told him not to, and the guy thought he told him to, and he pressed the start button, which got the propeller going, and it kind of hit him on the side of the head, the shoulder. He was fine and everything, but like I say, talk to them. You'll hear some interesting stories sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're not sure what to say, the best thing you can say is thank you for your service. Any service member would appreciate a thank you for their service. So Mrs. Evans, thanks so much for taking the time to share what you have here.
No, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me share it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for watching. Be sure that if you have the opportunity to thank a veteran today.